Well, hello and good evening, everyone. I am so elated to be here. I am sorry that I got the word out a little bit late as far as the as far as the live stream tonight is concerned. I was busy all day yesterday, and I just got home like maybe an hour ago. You can see my hair is totally a wreck, and and um, and so I just barely, like, maybe an hour before the show started, got, got it together and put out the link because I was busy all day today as well, just, things that came up that wasn't able to really, you know, get out of doing, and, just things that took a while. So anyway, as you probably noticed, this is the second week in a row where I have not played my introductory song. Hope more people join. Hope more people join because, um, I mean, I hope maybe the word gets out on YouTube and the feeds and everything else. Because I do want people to be here. This is going to be kind of a little bit interesting. It's going to be an ask me anything, but I wanted to start out with a couple things. Number one, Thrash Pondo Pons is not going to be here this evening, unfortunately. He was not able to make it. He called me yesterday and said he wasn't able to make it. And like I said, I just barely got home a little while ago, and was like, okay, I got to get the thumbnail up and register it on Streamyard. And so anyway, it's all good. We're all here. But as I was saying before, I got distracted by the mind that is my squirrel that runs to and fro. Is that you've noticed that this is the second week in a row where I haven't played my introductory song, and that's because I keep getting copyright striked by this band called Vegan Vampire. And there's a little bit of a story here that I want to start off with before I um, say hi to everybody. Well, here's this is what's interesting. So when I got the copyright strike the first few times from this thing said vegan vampire, immediately I thought, well, this is ridiculous. My song just might sound like their song because I know where I got the song from. I got it from a copyright free place here on YouTube, and I downloaded the video and I stripped out the music from it, and I used the music. So anyway, and I used the music from it and then overlaid it into my videos, which I've been using now for like a year. And so I immediately thought, well, of course, this is not the same song. So I typed to YouTube, you go in and you disclaim you say, well, this is not, you put in what's the word I'm looking for? Um, uh, like a challenge, whatever. That's not the word, but it's like a challenge. You say, "Hey, this isn't the song." And YouTube took a long time to get back to me. Now, what's interesting is I had this happen before a long time ago with some other music that I did have the license to use. And YouTube got back like right away within the next like week or so. They said, "Oh, we've ruled in your favor. You can go ahead and start using that song." But it was automatic. It would automatically go. The algorithms automatically picked it up, and I didn't want to do it for every dang video that I put out. So basically, what I did was I decided to change the song to the one that we're now discussing. Um, so Dave wrote me and said, "Hey, this is the Vegan Vampire song." So I listened to the Vegan Vampire song, and I like, lo and behold, it is the same song. It doesn't just sound like it; it is the same song. And that disturbed me a little bit because I know where I got this music from. And I went back and I tried to find the video for it. I couldn't find the video, but I did find the song, and the song is actually called Astringent A because I downloaded it to my music on Apple, and so it gave me the name of the song. Now, this is where it's going to come together to kind of catch you up on the story so far. So everybody knows that I have an introductory video when you land on my page. It's me dressed all 80s out and playing with CDs and DVDs and playing with Star Wars toys and stuff like that. And it's a completely different song. I mean, it's more like new wave. It's just a completely different song. Well, guess what? I got a copyright strike on that song too. And guess who said they copyright stroke it or struck striked it? It was Vegan Vampire, and it was the same song, part 4. It's called Vegan Vampire something something part 4. And I'm like, "This is impossible. These aren't the same songs. I didn't get them even at the same time." And so I think what's happening is Vegan Vampire is going around and collecting this music up and maybe copywriting it because it's copyright free. So they might put a copyright claim on it. I don't know what the laws are and all that, but it's crazy because these are two different songs. If you land on my page, my opening page, and you all know that 1 minute video where I kind of introduce the channel, you know, that song is completely different than the song that I have on my opening for the live stream and the song that I have for my opening on all my other videos. But Vegan Vampire said that it's, you know, is the same one that claimed both of them. And I think that's actually why YouTube is taking so long to get back to me because maybe Vegan Vampire is making a lot of claims right now that they don't have a right to make or something's happening like that. So YouTube has not yet gotten back to me as far as this is concerned. But I'm convinced now because, again, two totally different songs, both have a copyright claim from the same band. And this band claims it's the same song. It's Vegan Vampire something something part 4. And I'm just convinced that they're going around like collecting up this music and then putting copyrights on it, maybe to try to make some money or something like that. So anyway, we'll see how it works out. Until then, I am going to try to. Things are slowing down a little bit because I'm going to try to pick up a new song just so so I don't have to keep fighting this battle. And that's why we didn't have another song here today. But all right, so that's the news as far as any news is concerned. Other than that, let's say hi to people who are in the channel. And first of all, we have Lance Chafin. Hi, Ian. Sorry you weren't there Sunday. I'm sorry too, as well. Hi, Lance. I'm glad you could make it to the show. And Keith writes, Keith E, how are you doing? Keith E writes, a bunch of booze and pool and golf and a boomerang. Those are all good things in my book. So Keith E is here with us today, and so is Kenneth Wilkinson. Kenneth Wilkinson, good evening, Keith. And he actually, oh, there we go. Good evening, Ian C. Good evening, Keith. I'm glad you could be joining us tonight. And oh my goodness, goodness gracious, look who's here, Emily Miller. Honestly, I thought you forgot about us, dear. I love those blue eyes that you have, and I missed seeing them the last few times. And anyways, but I'm glad you're here tonight to contribute to the conversation, as it were. Keith E. And oh, look who else is here, gracing us with her presence, Cindy D. Glad you could be joining us, Cindy, on tonight's live stream. Um, anyway, I don't know what he's half right about. Let's see. Okay, yeah, they said you were working, and that's why you haven't joined. It says you're half right, Ken. I worked a little. Well. I hope the other half isn't a bad half or anything. Let's see. What else is going on here? A lot of highs. Hello, and Hungry Jerk is in the house. Hi, everyone. Hello, Hungry Jerk. Glad you can make it. I really hope I'm not missing anybody. Try to keep my mind on two things: the conversation and reading these comments. Um, oh, was Emily sick? Because Kenneth asked. I hope you feel better, Emily. Well, I hope you feel better, Emily, as well. So, uh, yeah, how many parts of this song have? I don't know. It's kind of weird, but if you look up Vegan Vampire Part 4, you can hear it's my song's the one that starts that out. And then it goes on to a bunch. It's like a really, really long song, but but both of them are listed under Part 4. So who knows what's happening? I know that I didn't get that dang song through Vegan Vampire, though. I know that. But when Dave tipped me off and I listened to it, I'm like, well, this is the exact same song. I mean, I never really, when I disputed YouTube over the music, I basically said, oh, this just, I never listened to the song because I thought, well, obviously it can't be the same song because I didn't get it from the same place. Let's see. What is this? Superplex action figure. What is this? We need a naked action figure, Emily. Okay. I like that too. Let's see. Cindy D writes, oh no, Lance Chafin writes something. Nope. Let's see. Cindy D writes, nope, Lance, darling, and Double Dare was on in the late 80s. Okay. We were getting into some stuff here. Good luck with that, Ian. I feel like vegan vampires are targeting you. Maybe, um, but I think what's happening, because I mean, how could they just target me specifically? I think probably what they've done is bought this music up or got or stripped the music the way I did and then copyrighted it because they're so um yeah, there's it's just so uh, odd that they would do both of those songs. So I hope they're not targeting me. I really hope they're not. Let's see. ENC uses "Happy Birthday to You." It is now in the oh, use "Happy Birthday to You." It is now in the public domain. Yeah, I do. I remember that that is in the public domain. And what's interesting is, of course, a lot of restaurants didn't use "Happy Birthday." They made up their own little birthday jingle because it was not in the public domain for many years. Now let's see. Baby got blue eyes. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm sorry, Ian. A lot of personal stuff going on over the last month. No, that's fine. I understand. I totally get it. I just your presence was noticeably missed, as all your presences are. If you're a regular person on this channel and I don't see you for a while, I totally I totally miss you. So let's see. A lot of stuff about I opened some stuff here about, Emily's eyes. Anyway, uh, let's see. Vegan vampire going for blood, you could say. Yeah, I guess you could say that. What is this here? This is here. The Luke Skywalker action figure is naked. Yeah, my Luke Skywalker action figure. It is not here right now. It's in my car though, because I when I relocated here, I only took a handful of knickknacks back with me and are with me here. So, but I just haven't put them out. I don't really have anywhere to put them out here. I thought maybe getting a poster on the walls here a little bit. Um, just so when I slide it, you'll see like maybe a poster or something like that. But that's actually the door to the bathroom, so it's like I can't. I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't put a shelf there with all my stuff on it as of yet. As of yet. Um, better than keto zombies. Better than keto zombies. I don't know what that means. All right. Well, listen, folks, we got to have an open discussion because obviously my good friend and co-host Thrash Poundo Pons is not here tonight, so I'm going to let you direct the conversation to wherever you wanted to take it. I'll start off. I'll start off with some music stuff. I was just listening to an interview shortly before we got on to the program of a guitarist by the name of Mike Tramp. Does anybody else remember the guitarist Mike Tramp? He was from a band back in the '80s called White Lion. He is a founding member of that band, probably the sole owner. I think he's the owner of it. And he's re-releasing a White Lion album called Songs of White Lion. And I think what he's doing is kind of an acoustical rendition of White Lion songs. And anyway, I don't know if you were a fan of White Lion or not. I kind of had a little turbulent relationship with White Lion back in the '80s. Not like a real relationship, but just like I kind of liked some of their stuff, but I also kind of thought we used to call them posers back in the day. You know, we'd say, "Oh, you're a poser," mean you're not legit. Um, I have no idea what I meant by that. I think that's just shorthand uh, for I don't like your music. I don't know how somebody could be a poser, um, especially of an '80s um, hair band. I mean, that that's like the breeding ground for posers. So I don't see how you could not. I guess should say I don't know how you could not be a poser. Everybody was kind of a poser. I mean, you're posing. I mean, it's all about image. It's style over substance. But I have to admit that White Lion was good band. They had some solid hits, great musicians. I didn't like everything they did, but in the interview, in the interview, they did make this comment, and the comment was, "I think that the hate for hair metal is leaving, and that people are starting to accept it once again." And I have to say that I agree with that sentiment to some, I agree with that sentiment to some degree, with some measure. Um, because for the longest time I didn't listen to hair metal, and I tried to pretend that I was not ever interested in hair metal, which wasn't the truth at all. You know, when the grunge scene hit, I've talked to you very candidly that I was all on board with it. And the alternative rock scene, I was kind of there when it was emerging. And then when it broke, I was all on board with it. Totally on board with the alt rock and the grunge scene movement. Um, but but later and when I did that, I realized it's like, oh man, that hair metal sucks so bad. And nobody likes hair metal, and substance over or style over substance and all this stuff, and it's all about excess. Um, and and I really regret doing that because you don't have to hate one kind of music to like another kind of music, you know? I mean, it was a thing to do back then. Everybody was kind of bashing on '80s bands, especially '80s bands that were like hair metal bands. Um, but, as I got older, I started to appreciate it more again. And I listened to some '80s metal. Well, I actually listen to a lot of '80s metal quite often when I run. I haven't been running for a while because I'm injured right now, which really sucks. But uh, but I do feel like a lot of people are more accepting, and now kids that are kind of growing up, they don't really even realize that there was a controversy. You know, they just like kind of what they like of older music, and older music's becoming more and more available. And by older music, I mean my generation of music. What is very interesting to me is when I was a kid, older music wasn't as available as it is today. And so we didn't grow up, at least I didn't grow up listening to a whole lot of older, quote unquote, older music from my generation. You know, like for me, older music, like the music my parents or grandparents listened to. You either had to have somebody who had some albums or something like that, and they were into music themselves, or, you had to go out and buy the album. And I wasn't gonna go out and buy, you know, I wasn't gonna go out and buy, um, Herman's Hermits or something like that. I just wasn't gonna go out and do that. So, I just wasn't really into it. But now it's way more available. And what I find, I think this is interesting, I find that kids today are listening to older music more often than I did when I was a kid. So that's what I have to say about that. I think that kind of ties things up there. I missed a few things here. Yeah, everyone remembers Heaven. I think that's supposed to be Heaven 17's Let Me Go. Everyone remember Heaven 17's Let Me Go. I don't, oh, anyone remember? See, this is my dyslexia creeping up on me. Anyone remember? I don't remember, actually. Emily Miller writes, I think I saw them at a local venue in the late 80s. I was high a lot, so I don't remember too much. You and I both, Emily, were high quite a bit. Anyway, Lance Chafin or New Order's Blue Monday. Oh yeah, I remember New Order's Blue Monday. Bonus question for you. Who did New Order used to be before they became New Order? All right. Superflex writes, Black Tar Heroin, Emily, or Angel Dust. Oh, I, I think probably she just meant some weed, but who knows? I don't know. Whatever. I wouldn't be surprised. I had a very nice run-in with Insane Clown Posse about 4 years ago. To old man in a to old man in a Winnebago. Oh, that's interesting. Nice run-in with the. This seems like this would be a joke or something, but I'm not sure. To an old man, I don't know. I don't get it. If it is a joke, I'm not quite understanding. Yep, mostly just weed. Drop some acid here and there. Um, yes. I'll be right back, guys. Let's see. Where else? Um, did you color your hair, Ian? Kind of like the gray. No, I did not color my hair. No, I didn't. No, no, no coloring at all. There's still gray. Just maybe it's not coming through on this or whatever. No, I didn't color my hair whatsoever. There's still gray in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Maybe it looked grayer under different light or something like that. But the gray TBH. Oh, I don't know what that means. No, I welcome gray hair. I actually welcome it. Like like in my beard, like my beard is like getting gray. And I like gray hair. I'm like, hey, cool. I don't like hair loss. That's not a friend of mine. I am fighting that a little bit. But as far as gray hair, oh man, let's bring it on. You know? Uh, Lance is popular. He's headed to over to another podcast to do a commentary. Okay. Cindy writes, I like White Snake, Night Ranger, Bon Jovi, and I'm not a heavy metal fan. Good songs. Well, those would all kind of be considered. White Snake, they're kind of considered heavy metal light. They ran with a lot of um, hair metal bands. I mean, Whitesnake was kind of a hair metal band in the 80s. Night Ranger, not so much. Night Ranger is what we would consider to be arena rock. And Bon Jovi, they were a good rock band who just kind of got swept up in the hair movement, I think. They just kind of got swept up in that hair movement. But um I didn't like Slippery When Wet, but I actually really liked New Jersey. I thought New Jersey was a phenomenal album. Of course, Slippery When Wet has that, um, their famous ballad. I forgot the name of it. I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. And Keith E. Let's see. Keith E. says he's only randomly looking at the comments. It's okay. He's getting a lot of out of his system. Yes, thank you. I'm kind of trying to skip through, like if I just see you talking back and forth or whatever. But again, because of my reading disabilities, I might miss something. I'm not trying to miss anything. Back in the 1980s are used to check Bon Jovi in on Saturday nights at Exit 9 on the New Jersey Turnpike. Oh, cool. Excellent. The old order, LOL. No, it wasn't old order. It was, as if I'm right about the band, and I could be wrong, I'm just going off my memory here. It was Joy Division. And Joy Division was a phenomenal band. The singer died and they reformulated and kind of went a little bit more synth pop, or a lot more synth pop and created New Order. Is that, I think anyway. Good night. I don't know. Let's see. Superplex writes, ENC high on what? Cannabis or peyote? Cannabis mostly. Back in the 80s and 90s up until like I can't remember exactly. And I recommitted my life to Christ. I stopped that, but I mean, I would smoke a lot of weed. I mean, a lot of weed, and I have a compulsion kind of disorder as well. So, like, and it was really prevalent when I was younger. Um, and so if I had weed, I had to smoke all of it. Like I had to get high and high and high and come down and get high and come down and get high and come down. And so I was like constantly on weed from the time I was like 15 to 19, and or 9 or 20, like if I had it, I was high. And then if I didn't have it, I was looking for it. And a lot and acid. I did acid and I did some shrooms, which I'm not very proud of, but it's all over with at this point. It's no big deal to me now. As a matter of fact, I'm not even. This might surprise some people because given my Christian convictions that I am so adamant about here, I don't think drugs should be illegal at all. I think people should have the freedom to make that choice. I'd much rather talk to somebody about their relationship with Christ than make a law. Laws don't really help as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, it doesn't even bug me at this point at all. And I think that there are some, especially like medical benefits to marijuana, and to just I don't know to go like my wife before she passed, she had to get a medical marijuana card, and it was like it was hell to get to. Like the doctor wouldn't even write it. He made his underling write it out because they were like so. Where I was from in Utah, they were so against it, and it's just ridiculous. It was just you should just go be able to buy. Of course, there should be laws. You shouldn't smoke it and drive. Children shouldn't have it. I think all that stuff's reasonable, but I just can't see making a law against it. Oh, Terrell Eugene Bellinger is here in the house. Thank you, Terrell, for joining us. Says hello, Ian. Happy first day of spring. Yes, it is the first day of spring, and it was so cold here this morning. I got up to go for my walk, and go for my walk like I'm old. Going on my walk and listening to my stories, uh, but I try to walk for about an hour a day, and I couldn't do it. So the guy walked outside. I'm like, this ain't happening today. It might happen after this. We'll see. But it's been mildly chilly here today, but in the morning it was just freezing, freezing. All right. Any topics you guys want to talk about? Oh, TBH. Oh, to be honest. Oh, well, thank you very much. To be honest. I think I look a little bit younger with my hat on. Maybe that's if I put my hat on, kind of look a little different there. I have been the reason why I didn't wear a hat a while ago, and I've been wearing a hat lately is I've been wearing a hat at work all day, and when you're done wearing a hat, you're done wearing your hat. You know what I mean? You just want to take it off, and you're just like, oh, we're all friends here, we're all family. No one gives 2 cents as to what I look like, but I do prefer wearing a hat. I like wearing a hat. Let's see. I don't know what that had. I don't know. What does that have to do with looking younger or something? All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, maybe that's what it is. No cap. That's why I said that. Okay, ICP was traveling from gig to gig into Winesboro, pulling their equipment behind them. I really mad start. Oh, a really mad start. Okay. Glam rock 2 ENC. Glam rock 2. Yeah, glam rock and hair metal are I think are synonymous terms. At least I've always used them synonymously. So who knows? All right, Kenneth Wilson writes, are those hearing aids in your ears, Ian? I have hearing aids. No, these are not hearing aids. These are my Apple um, um, AirPods. So I've been using those a few times instead of getting the whole gear out and setting up. Um, I've been using these ear pods here. All right. Mm, yes, Dead or Alive. Wanted Dead or Alive. That's the one. Have you ever heard of Cinderella? They're a hair metal band from my hometown of Philly. Absolutely, I've heard of Cinderella. I loved Cinderella back in the day. Nobody's Fool. At least one of their albums that I enjoyed was Nobody's Fool, the one that had Nobody's Fool on it. Their second album, Long Cold Winter, um, I actually don't even know if their second album, but their second big album. When the song "Nobody's Fool" hit, that whatever album that was, that had a bunch of "Somebody Save Me." That had a bunch of songs on there that were real popular and real airtime worthy and very MTV worthy. But their second album that came out, the album that came out after that, "Long Cold Winter," was good. It was probably more solid of an album, but it wasn't as commercial friendly. Let's put it that way. And at the time, I noticed that I didn't care for it as much. And they had a song called "Gypsy Road, Take Me Home," and it sounded exactly like "Country Road, Take Me Home," which I thought was a bit of a ripoff of John Denver. So I didn't care for it as much, but I did like "Don't Know What You've Got Till It's Gone," which is on that second album. Let's see here. Um, uh, iPhones. Let's see. Should say not mad. Okay. Hungry Jerk writes, Bon Jovi filmed a video called "She Don't Know Me in My Hometown." Oh, well, very interesting. That's awesome. We had a band come to my hometown one time and film a video. It was a hair band. I forgot the name of it. They were popular for a while. I don't know if you guys tried this. I've mentioned this before. Dr. Pepper is by no means paying me, but this is, if you like colas, this is a diet cola here. They've got a sugar made one. This is such a good cola. I can't get enough of it. Really can't. And let's see. Let's see what else. I know you are breaking the law. I know you are breaking the law. I know you are breaking the law. I don't know what that's in reference to. Yes, I've heard of Cinderella. They were quite big in New Jersey. I sold weed but never had to buy any. Hey, good. All right. Never did drugs, just said no. All right. The Nancy Ray never did drugs, just said no, Cindy D. Good for you. Um, I actually I actually think that it has impaired me to this day. I actually think that I suffer more anxiety as a result of it, and I have more, mm, I should say, um, like um, like unrealistic thoughts, things like that. So, and I think that they were that it's a result of of my drug use when I was younger, especially in your teens. It's really going to mess your brain up. It was up before my frontal cortex had fully developed, and it really kind of messes you up. So good for you. Just say no. And I know too that I lost a lot of memory because I used to have a fantastic, and I still do have a fantastic memory. I still have a well above average memory. But before I really got into drugs, my memory was like they like I've told everybody this before, but we're talking, so I'll say it again. But they used to test me every year at school, and they were like, "This kid's got nearly an eidetic memory," and I was like one step down from eidetic, and I used to be able to memorize books. At 6 years old, and these weren't like it wasn't like Hemingway or anything, but it was. I mean, it was pretty good for a 6-year old. Memorizing the entire Cat in the Hat and all that stuff, and be able to turn the page and all that. But and even though and some of the people that I had met, the doctors that I had to work with, they had not personally ever met somebody with an eidetic memory. So they said that there were a number of occasions when they said that you're the person that we've ever met that's had the best memory. So I know that it ruined my memory to some degree. And I kind of feel bad about that. So, because I use my mind a lot these days, in a lot of conversations and stuff. So, um, I'm sad about that. So I'm glad you just said no, like Nancy Reagan told us to do. Just say no. Okay. When I was 18, Keithy writes, when I was 18, you could drink all you want. It. I think they changed the law on in 79. Yeah, I think so too. I do remember that. I do remember them. I remember some states it was like 21, and some states it was 18. And then, when I was growing up, there was the whole, well, if you're old enough to join the army, you should be old enough to drink. And I got a middle ground on that one right there. I think if you do join the army, you should be allowed to drink. Not just old enough, but if you do join the army, you should be allowed to drink. Oh, Tracy Rothmeyers. Hello, Ian. Hello, Tracy. I'm so glad you are here with us today. Let's see. What happened to T Pons? Was he overextended from too much live streaming? No, I think, T Pons is always up for a good live stream. It was work related, as I recall. He basically said that because he's been on a leave of absence, and he said that his place of business is opening up early or something, and they needed him, so he just wasn't able to make it. He wasn't able to make it today. All right, open discussion, everybody. Let me know what you want to talk about. We've been talking about music so far, but I mean, really anything goes, and you can ask me anything. I'm an open book ish. Guys got to have some secrets. Okay, Thrash, I'm sure you noticed, starts his new job tomorrow and was probably has to do everything. He's wondering for the last 3 months today. Oh, he's wondering for the last 3 months today. Yes. So, all right, that's been taken care of in the comment um, section there. A lot of highs back and forth. Shake Me, Cinderella. Yeah, great song. Uh, be a pepper, ENC. Yes, I am a pepper. Uh, Smoking cannabis, ENC. Yes, BC. Cindy D writes that slogan and idea behind it was a joke, though. It makes drugs worse. Yeah, the just say no. I think so. I think it makes it. I think it makes it worse. I think Nancy's daughter consumed a lot of illicit narcotics. Maybe Nancy Reagan's daughter. I think that's who you're talking about. Did anybody mention Lee Van Cleef, the bad uh, the ba- uh, the bad dying today. No, did Lee Van Cleef die today? That would suck. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, Superplex writes, your favorite new TV show, ENC. Oof, I don't watch anything on TV. If you mean like my favorite new, so I'm trying to get into The Expanse, which is on Amazon Prime. Because there's a guy who's a friend of mine, and we'd like to talk movies and stuff, and he recommended The Expanse. Favorite new one that's come out. Um, that's a, I don't watch any TV. I just don't. And as I've said before too, I have like a really hard time sitting still. And so I always want to be out. And so like it's really taxing on me um to sit and watch something, to watch it for a while. Now I can watch something over and over again, and I can sit and have a conversation because things are moving, they're fast paced, they're going back and forth. But like it's been very hard for me to get into anything new. Ah, man, this is a tough one. Well, I mean, I only stream. I can't even, I literally can't remember the last time I turned on a TV. I liked Mom. That was kind of relatively new. So Mom was cool. Although that's old now too, but when it came out, that was probably the last thing that came out on TV that I was very interested in. Life in Pieces was okay, but if you're asking like anything within the last 3 years, I couldn't even tell you. I know the Goldbergs was pretty good, but I haven't really watched more than an episode or two of it. It's something I want to get into eventually because I do sitcoms. Okay, I can sit for a sitcom. 21. I can actually sit for several sitcoms. Um, but um, uh, but like one show where you have to kind of follow it and follow the plot and stuff, that just has not happened for me since my wife's passing. So I just have not been able to sit. I have to move. I have to be engaged in conversation or do something that requires a lot of different focus. Anyway, so I hope that my roommate puts on Wednesday, that show. I haven't really gotten into it though. I mean, I'll sit and watch about, like I said, I will sit and watch about 15 minutes of it, then I'll get up and leave. And I'll go to the store and I'll walk around the store like a loser, and then I'll go and somewhere else and walk around there for a little while. Anyway, all right. Hi, ENC, Tom Laramie. Hi, everyone. Cool. Thank you. Cool t-shirt. Yes. Here, you can see that t-shirt there. The villains and yeah, villains. So this is kind of a periodic table of the villains. Thank you. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef died. Yeah, I don't know. Lee Van Cleef died. Yes. Uh, Patty Davis, Nancy's daughter. Okay. Oh, okay. So Lee Van Cleef was mentioned on the Sad Endings podcast. Well, I'm sorry to hear that he died. I didn't know. Yeah, we'll look at this. Oh, yes. So here we go. Any other YouTubers you watch? Yes, tons of YouTubers that I watch. As a matter of fact, that's most of my entertainment content is other YouTubers. So I like a wide variety of YouTubers. Obviously, there's the entertainment YouTubers and nostalgic YouTubers. Like I've mentioned before, Fanboy Flicks, and I've mentioned before Toy Galaxy, who recently changed their name. Um, I for music interviews about 80s stuff, I like a place called Full in Bloom. He does a lot of good interviews with a lot of old metal bands, which I find interesting. Um, and I like Food Theory. Food Theory is really good. I love that channel. Food Theory, I listen to them quite a bit. I also watch 42, but he spells it with a TH. So it's Thourty, and then the number two. I like watching his stuff. I devour a lot of his content as well. Um, well, here, I mean, let's just I'll I can kind of look over the last little while of what I've been watching. If I can get to it. I mostly watch things over on my ministry channel because my ministry channel actually has pitch meeting. I love pitch meeting quite a bit. I think that's pretty funny. Who else do I like? I like Vsauce and Vsauce 2, although they don't do a lot these days. They were more like, 5, 10 years ago. Vsauce 3, I didn't really care for a whole lot. I mean, it just not that there's anything really wrong with it, but it really wasn't my thing, it really wasn't my bag. Vsauce 3 was more about video games and stuff, and I don't really watch video game things. I watch a lot of stuff. There's a show called Today I Found Out. I watch that quite a bit. Um, yeah, so there's a number of things that I another a number of things out there, and of course, I'm always watching Dave's channel and Steven's channel, and things of that nature. But those are all the ones that I really enjoy. I mean, I like especially 42. Um, oh, there's a guy here on YouTube. His name's Doctor Todd Grande. I like watching him quite a bit. He's very interesting. So these are all things that I watch that are like, both entertainment related and non-entertainment related kind of stuff, more educational things. I like watching a lot of like educational stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef died in December 1989. I thought that. Um, did you see Wednesday? Only bits and pieces. I find it interesting. Don't misunderstand me. I just can't concentrate. 15 minutes, I'm done. I'm out of there. So, okay, I misunderstood totally what they were trying to say. Thanks for the update. I appreciate it. Oh, I don't know what they were talking about here. Oh, Terrell Teb writes, which canceled too soon TV do you wish deserved another season? Uh, wrap wrap up. So-called Life, Freaks and Geeks, Firefly, are Pushing Daisies. Never saw Pushing Daisies at all. My So-called Life, I watched here and there. Um, it was a good show. The two that I really liked were Freaks and Geeks and Firefly, but hands down, Firefly. I love Freaks and Geeks. That was a lot of fun. That was great. It was a great show. But as far as I'm concerned, Firefly is the top banana as far as a lot of shows are concerned, especially TV sci-fi. As a matter of fact, it might be my favorite TV sci-fi show of all time. I might adjust that later, but for now, it is. And of course, they wrapped it up with the movie, which was awesome. But uh, okay, I wish they had filmed the final episode of Hogan's Heroes. I never really got into that show. Superplex, where I saw My So-Called Life, and it made me want to hang myself to death. Yeah. Well, it is a teenage angst show. Well, the problem that I had with My So-Called Life is that I was already kind of out of high school when it came out, and I just couldn't really, enjoy it. I couldn't really get into it. So I mean, it wasn't anything bad about it or whatever, and it was like kind of the same era, basically, maybe like that first wave millennial or the last wave Gen X. But it was just a little too, for me at the time, it was a little too immature. I couldn't really make it work for myself. And then plus at the time too, as I've mentioned before, I was, a young adult when that show came out, and so I was out a lot. I wasn't home to see it. So I was out, friends, and doing things, if I recall correctly. Uh, I watch a lot of Canon Needs a Friend. Oh, Conan Needs a Friend. Conan Needs a Friend. I've never heard of that show either. I watch Daily Dose of Internet. I don't know what Daily Dose of Internet is, but does anybody remember The Soup with um, Joel McHale? I like Joel McHale. Now that's another show that I really liked, and that show that I really liked was Community. That Community was really good. But what's that, like 2005 or something like that? I mean, maybe a little bit later. Affinity writes, "What happened to those girls you used to have? Okay, they show. I forgot their names. They were so into old stuff like yourself." Are you saying I'm old stuff? They were into me and I'm old? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Robbie and McPherson and Amy. Ooh, I'm sorry, Amy, I forgot your name. The Glitter Boom Girls. I thought about getting in contact with them. They've had one new episode in the last like year or something like that. Um, and I thought about getting a hold of them because I'd like to have them both back on the program. Um, I thought about doing like girls toys of the 80s and having them on the program. I think that would be so cool to talk about like My Pretty Pony and Rainbow Bright and those kind of things. But I haven't heard from them in a while. Um, I still interact with them a little bit more with Robbie. I interact with on Instagram. Um, we'll chat back and forth just a tad, but not much. I've really not heard from them in a while. Firefly was the bomb. Yes, it was. Keith's statement was regarding Lee Van Cleef's death. Okay. I have on the I hate spell correct. LOL. Yes, I hate spell correct too. They were the Glitter Boom Girls, are sorely missed. They are. Reach out to them. I mean, they're here on YouTube. They listen to comments. Go over to their comments section. Not now, because you're watching this. But if you remember, reach out to them on YouTube and just say, under one of their latest videos, say, hey, we really miss you. E and C really misses you. And they know I miss them because I've talked to them before a little bit. I've asked them at least on two occasions, what's going on with the Glitter Boom Girls? And I always just get, oh, we're kind of on hiatus right now. But if they know there's other fans out there who really want to see them and really want to see them back on my show, um, let them know. Let them know. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Oh, Fat Comic Book Guy is here. Greetings. I'm running late. It's okay. Better late than never. Glad to have you here. And Tummy. Hell with an extra L. I don't know how many L's to write on that one. Somebody's last leak said duck auto correct. I thought that was hysterical. I must have missed that one. Oh, a show that kind of came out, I think it was like, what was it? Oh, I can't remember. Oh, 07, 08 was um, Rules of Engagement. Of course, everybody knows I'm a huge David Spade fan. So anything David Spade does, I really enjoy it. Um, he had before the pandemic hit, he actually had another television show that kind of came out. I think it was a Netflix show though, where he had comedian friends and he'd do a little monologue and then they would talk about something. I was into that. I'll give anything with him a try. Although he gets a tad bit. Now listen, he gets a tad bit little dirty for me, personally speaking. But I love his sarcastic humor. Just resonates with me like no other. So I like anything he does. Tracy Rothmeyers writes, I like the soup with him as host. Yes, I did too. And then you had a bunch of copycats of the soup. You had, well, there was the talk soup first with, what was it? I think it was Greg Kinnear, and then some other guy took it over. And then they had the soup, which Talk Soup was a show about the talk and talk shows. And then they did the soup, and Joel McHale was actually really mad when people confused it, like it wasn't an evolution of that. It was just another show, but it was all internet stuff. But I like the soup as well. And then they have another person who does it. Um, and well, then they did the who's he's a comedian, and his show Tosh, Daniel Tosh. His show is basically a ripoff of talk of the soup, not talk soup, but his show was a ripoff of the soup. But I have to admit that Tosh did make it his own show. He did make it his own show. And now they have, Rob Dyrdek doing his stuff too, which is just very reminiscent of just sitting around watching stuff on the internet. Let's see. Uh, what's the one true crime story that haunted you the most? Um, the it's interesting you should ask that because there was a phase in life where um, my wife was really into true crime stories and and crime stories as well. And we used to watch all the CSI and CSI Miami and CSI New York, and we used to watch all the true ones too, like Unsolved Mysteries and things like that. Of course, Unsolved Mysteries came out before we were married, but there were shows like that. That would go back Dateline, NBC, all those stories. There were a few that were particularly haunting. The John Bonet one, that's particularly haunting. I just always feel bad for her whenever I think about it. And and anyway, so that one kind of haunts me. That's one that sticks out in my mind the most, anyway. But again, I'm not sure if I thought about it for a long time if I would change my answer to that. But right now, the one that sticks out for me the most is the John Bonet one. I just think that's just it's such a tragic story, and I just feel bad for that little girl. So all around, I mean, I feel bad all around for her life and her death, and then the unsolved mystery behind her death is really kind of heartbreaking to me. Um, Joel was good too. Yes. I can't type today, ENC. Sorry. No, that's quite all right. I will, ENC. Thanks. I don't remember. Okay. I'm glad you will, even though I don't remember what we were talking about. The state is forcing me to learn how to type so I can work 2 days a week. I said, why do I need a semicolon? And they said, however, you only use a semicolon in however if you're constructing two adjoining sentences together and they're not quite strong enough to stand on their own. Otherwise, you put a period and make a however, and make the however uppercase, and make the and then put a comma behind it and not use the semicolon. Semicolons are also good for setting things apart. Like when you see several Bible references in a row, you often will have the semicolon there to set those Bible references apart. So if you have like, or if you have like lots of names and numbers, like if you have like a list of people and semicolon, semicolon, semicolon. The reason why I know all this is because when I went to get my master's and my PhD, they made us take stringent writing classes because that's what they based it on solely. And I had to learn all the part later in life. I had to learn all the parts of speech. I had to learn how and when to use semicolons and colons and all that stuff. So I don't know. So that's me geeking out on language again. Here we go. Oh, good night, Cindy. Oh, Cindy's leaving us. Good night, Cindy. All right, Talk Soup with Greg Kinnear. When Greg Kinnear hosted it, that was back in the day. Those talk shows were on television, like Jerry Springer Show, which were so easy to poke fun at. Yes. Good night, Emily. Oh, good night. Are you leaving us? I'm sorry, Emily. Thank you, though, for joining us. It was really, really good to see you again. Good night. Oh, okay. So you're leaving us. Some people are leaving us. Are we leaving? Is everybody leaving early? No, as if people are just saying good night. Okay. Night, Ken. Night. Uh, yes. Tosh point oh. Yes, Tosh point oh. You meant that's what I meant. Tosh point oh. Uh, I remember The Dash was a similar show. I don't, I never got to see that. I'm sure it was. Daniel Tosh hosted The Soup? That's a question mark. I don't think so, but I don't remember. No, The Soup was hosted by Joel McHale, and then McHale gave it up. They actually ran another show called The Internet Soup, um, which didn't go that well. And the Soup was just kind of a all things TV, but it included the internet when it first came out. And then Daniel Tosh did Tosh Point oh, which was just very reminiscent of the Soup, quite honestly. But again, I have to say that Daniel Tosh made it his own. He really did. Oh, let's see. Look who's joining us. Crow Mignon. Glad you could be joining us, Crow Minion. Glad you are joining us. And uh, Patsy Ramsey did it. Yeah, I don't know. My best guess is that that their son did it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've looked at that case quite a bit, but only. I mean, I don't look at anything the way a professional looks at it. So, I mean, I'm just looking at what I've watched several documentaries and inside investigations on that show, and she is a good candidate for it. But the other person who's a good candidate for it is their son. Um, so unfortunately, yeah. Oh, welcome back, bud. Hey, Two Bear. I'm glad you could be here with us. Let's see. Live in the same town of the Zodiac killer's first murder. Ooh, yeah. All right. Cindy D, I think the young son did it and the parents covered up for him. Yes. I think so too. Um, let's see. I like pizza, however, I do not like pineapple on pizza. It's not my favorite. It's not, but I'll eat it. You will never catch me ordering a Hawaiian pizza. But if I go over to somebody's house and they have Hawaiian pizza, guess who has two thumbs and is eating Hawaiian pizza? This guy right here. Yeah. So I actually don't mind pineapple. That was just an example. LOL. An example of what? I don't know. I missed it. I didn't get it. Uh, let's see. Oh, I'm still here, Ian. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're still here. I thought there's some Maybe. All right. I'm lost here. All right. Terrell Eugene Bellinger. He writes, which sitcom premiered in 1985? Do you really like better? Golden Girls, 227, Growing Pains, Mr. Belvedere, Small Wonder, or What's Happening Now? So let's go through these. What's Happening Now? I don't think I've seen an episode of that. Golden Girls, I watched a lot, but I didn't care for that much. That was something my grandmother watched. I did find it humorous. It was one of those shows that you like later on. You know, you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. The humor is a little sarcastic, which kind of catches me now a little bit more. Um, 227, I actually really enjoyed 227. I thought that was really good. But it it was one show for some reason or another that I didn't see every single time. So I had a problem kind of keeping up with it to some degree, and I don't know why. But 227 was a really good show. I really liked it back when it came out. I was a big fan of it. But here now we're going to get to the top three. Honorable mention will be 227 because I thought that was a really good show. Growing Pains, Mr. Belvedere, and Small Wonder. That I would have to go with Growing Pains, but these other ones are good shows too. Mr. Belvedere was great, and Small Wonder was a travesty, but I loved it anyway. Just so you know. All right. Oh, you need to help me with my grammar too. Okay. All right. Anytime. So if you have any questions about grammar, I'd be willing to ask. Uh, I hope that answered the question with the other one. That would be a tough one. Probably if I had to pick my favorite, it would be Growing Pains, but the other ones would be just uh, edging out slightly. Okay, let's see here. Zuplex writes, Mr. Belvedere. I guess that's his favorite show. Um, Mr. Belvedere too, and this shell hosted the dish on E. Okay, so it was an E show. The same as the soup. Um, the the dish. I kept saying the dash, didn't I? The dash. The dish. All right. I'll help you with your grammar with your grammar. Who can't speak or read or talk? Me. Uh, Topanga. Topanga. All right. Topanga. What did I miss while I was figuring out our new internet? Oh, I so much. We talked about growing pains and like I'm kind of missed. So I don't know what you missed because I'm so down far behind in the comments. I don't know. Oh, yeah, who killed Bonet? Emily. I think you should put a comma after who killed Bonet, comma Emily. Because that sounds like it's one name. Who killed Joe Bonet Emily? Example of using a semicolon. Example of using a semicolon would be they came, they saw, they conquered. Would be an example of using a semicolon. Semicolons are used for two primary reasons. One reason a semicolon is used is when two adjoining sentences, two or more, most of the time, two or more adjoining sentences are scooped together, but they're so short and they don't really have enough oomph to stand on their own. So she danced all night. Her legs grew tired. Those are both complete sentences. She danced all night. Period. Her legs grew tired. That's another complete sentence. But because they're kind of interdependent and they're both very short and they're both kind of weak sentences, sometimes people will join those together with a semicolon. Yeah, and look who's here. Danny Staten, awesome. Well, sure it was hell. Wasn't me. Sure in the hell wasn't. Oh, sure. Well, it sure hell. All right. Well, it sure was hell. Wasn't me. Okay. All right. Danny Staten, glad you could be joining us in the house tonight. Hi, Danny. Let's see. Who is your favorite Talk Soup host? Greg Kinnear. I didn't mind the other guy. I forgot the other guy's name. He grew on me after a while. Um, Henson was his name. His last name was Henson. Yeah. Let's see. Golden Girls was my jam. All right, Golden Girls was your jam. Not mine so much. Oh, Cindy D writes, I love 227 as well. And I hated Small Wonder. I get it. It's the cheesiest show. It's so bad, but at the time, I actually really liked it. So, but I get why people would hate it, though. I really do. I don't know if this is a joke or not. I hated Small Wonder. The robot girl couldn't act. Yeah, she acted like a robot. Are you saying she couldn't act like a robot, or is this a joke? The robot girl couldn't act like a human. Um, Bigfoot killed Joe Bonet. I don't think so. Um, Actually, dude, watch Friday's video on the Daily Dan blog. I did catch something on video. Oh, interesting. Well, cool. All right, I'll have to check that out. Tab writes, which TV show premiered in 1993? Do you really like better? It appeared in 93. Frasier, The X-Files, Walker, Texas Ranger, Boy Meets World, The Nanny, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5, or Living Single. All right, let's talk about each one of these, and I'll get to the ones that I like the best. Living Single, I've never even heard of it, so this is a new one to me. Babylon 5 and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I didn't watch either of those at all. The Nanny. Now, if there's a show to hate out there, it would be The Nanny for me at the time. Fran Drescher. Now, actually, I actually really liked Fran Drescher, but I didn't like her in The Nanny. And then she did a movie kind of like The Nanny, and it had one of the guys who played one of the Bonds for like two films, Timothy Dalton, in it. And believe it or not, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that film. And I think that Fran Drescher, her act is a little, um, it's a little over the top. I mean, she's kind of that way in real life, but like it's exemplified in The Nanny. So I just couldn't get into that. Boy Meets World, never seen a single episode, as I recall. So this leaves us with three once again: Frasier, The X Files, and Walker, Texas Ranger. This is hard to choose. So probably the least on that list would be Walker, Texas Ranger. I'm a big Chuck Norris fan. Everybody knows I do martial arts. Love Chuck Norris. It was a fun show. A tad bit on the cheesy side, though, a tad bit campy. The next one would be, now this is too hard because these are two different kinds of shows. But I love both Frasier and I love Walker Texas Ranger. But if one has to go out of those, it would be that one. I would say at the time, my favorite of those would be the X Files because I watched the X Files pretty much religiously. I mean, we watched it for a long time, up until maybe the season before Mulder got taken off. I started getting not getting into it then. And Frasier, love Frasier. I'll go back and watch Frasier. But it was for me, it was a hit and miss on Frasier. You know, if I was there and it was on, I'd watch it. I enjoyed every episode, but I didn't make time for it the way I would make time for the X Files. I loved the X Files. Still do love the X Files. X. So coming in X Files, Frasier, X Files, and The Nanny. Oh no, we have opposite ends of the spectrum as far as taste are concerned. I hate The Nanny, and you hate Small Wonder. How are we going to raise the children, Emily? X Files was the stuff. Living Single by far. It was Friends before Friends. I'll have to look at Living Single. It was better than Friends. It was better than Friends. I'm gonna have to look this up. Bigfoot Day. Laughing at that there. Semicolons must have an inferiority complex for the actual colon. Yes, maybe these have different functions. Um, Georgia Ayers is here. Hi, Georgia. She says hi. Hi, so glad you could be with us. Let's see. Hi, hi, hi. Small Wonder is a nightmare. I know. It's campy. It's horrible. It's a show that I shouldn't like. I'm really trying to learn to hate it. Anyway, but I can't. She couldn't act like either one E and C. She was bad at both. Okay, all right, I get it. So you weren't making a joke like the robot girl couldn't act because she was a robot. You were actually saying that the girl couldn't act like a robot. Got it. I got it. Yeah. All right. That robot girl gave me Forrest Whitaker before I knew who Forrest Whitaker was. Okay. Small wonder is what Michael J. Fox says about his. Oh, man. All righty. All right. Cindy D writes, I'm not a Trekkie. I've had my Star Trek conversations here before. Let's see. Um, let's see. Yes, and the Beast. I can't. I don't remember that. The Beautician and the Beast. Yes, the Beautician and the Beast. And she was the girl on Saturday Night Fever. Yes, she was. And DS9 was the only Trek I could really get into. And why the Fran Drescher hate Yancy? I just didn't like her whiny voice. It really grated on me. You know, I just I couldn't get it, it ruined it for me. It just ruined it for me. It was too of an extreme. Um, it was too extreme for me and too just too fake for me. Of course, then I love Small Wonder, which is like totally realistic, right? All right. Let's see. What kind of MMA? What kind of MMA? I don't know if you're asking me, like, what kind of MMA did I like? Um, or did I miss something up here? Mixed martial arts. Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that. If it's something you uh, want me to talk about later, let me know. Give me some clarity. I like MMA, by the way. I did go to an MMA school for about 3 years, and been doing. When I said I've been doing martial arts for a long time. Uh, long story made short, I started in karate when I was a kid. I got my first black belt at about 24 in a thing called White Dragon Martial Arts, which was basically Tong Soo and and Five Animal Kung Fu. Then I went on from there. Before I even got my black belt, I started really getting into Bruce Lee, and I studied JKD for most of my life from like my early 20s on. And did Wing Chun for a while. And my latest passion before my wife got sick was Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I did that for 3 years. Uh, and, um, and then I had to quit, about 4 years ago now. And I just actually started going back to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or Jiu Jitsu class. Some of it's American Jiu Jitsu now. That's the kind I would. Norris couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. You are very correct. All right. All right. That John Travolta danced with no with on the floor when he broke out with his single dance to You Should Be Dancing. Okay. All right. That girl was Fran Drescher. Okay. Um, well, we'll raise the kids on X Files and weed. Okay. All right. Fran Drescher asked John Travolta give. Oh, I'm going to skip that one. Okay. X. Let's see. Hungry Jerk. X Files had Brady Bunch episodes. I don't remember that one. I don't remember Brady Bunch episodes being on the X Files. All right. Which TV show premiered in 1989 do you really like better? Seinfeld, The Simpsons, Saved by the Bell, Baywatch, Family Matters, The Arsenio Hall Show, or Quantum Leap? You really asked some tough questions. Well, uh, let me say this. So Baywatch, not interested really at all. Um, Family Matters was good, but it was one of those shows that were like hit and miss. I've seen episodes, but it wasn't, again, it didn't really catch my attention. Now, the Arsenio Hall Show, I absolutely loved, and I thought it was great. That was a time when we were having like these late night shows, talk shows happening, and I thought Arsenio Hall was a fresh voice to this. We had the David Letterman and we had the Johnny Carson, and I thought the Arsenio Hall Show kind of spoke to a younger generation. Although I do have to say I love David Letterman. David Letterman kept it fresh for a long time. But the Arsenio Hall Show was, I thought was hip. So I really like that. Saved by the Bell is another guilty pleasure. I liked it quite a bit, but it wouldn't make the list at all. Seinfeld was an awesome show, but I didn't get into Seinfeld till later. So for me, at the time, it would be The Simpsons. Although, as I go back and watch Seinfeld now, I really am enjoying Seinfeld a lot more. But it would be a toss up between the Arsenio Hall Show and The Simpsons. Quantum Leap too was really good, but I mean, Quantum Leap would win out over Saved by the Bell, but I don't know. I don't know. Um, it was good. I always liked Quantum Leap. It was a solid show. Uh, it, it, I just didn't get excited for it the way I got excited for The Simpsons and the Arsenio Hall Show. That makes sense. Yes, it was much funnier than Friends. I have to look this show up, man. I'll have to look it up. Okay. Oh, neither could Lee Majors M starring the Fall Guy theme. I did not like Friends, too unrealistic for me. Oh no, see, Friends is probably my all-time favorite sitcom. It's a toss-up between a few of them. I really like Friends. Sorry, as everybody knows, yeah, I like if you, it depends. So people get um, different tastes of my personality. But if anywhere, like if you were around me a lot more than just this little interaction we'd have here, you would say that I'm at least 50% Chandler, 40% Joey, and 10% Ross. Now, sometimes the Ross thing takes over a little bit because the whole academics. But as far as like just my basic personality, Chandler, I'm very, very, very similar to Chandler. With Joey, I'm like Joey a lot when it comes to like food and stuff like that. Uh, but, but like I don't know, I just love that show, and I always evaluate people. I'm like, oh, that person's like Monica, or that person's like Rachel, or whatever. But so that was one of my all-time favorite shows. Uh, Quantum Leap for the win. Solid. Qu- Quantum Leap. Hi guys, I'm back. Good to have you back. We're getting Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap ruled. Let's see. Ouch, Terrell. Um, Loved Family Matters. Started slow, but Steve Urkel brought the show to life. Yes, he did. Um, good. Love the Arsenio Hall show and Family Matters. Tracy Rothmeyers writes, the nanny really made us Jewish girls look bad, and then it was too cliche. Okay, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Uh, let's see. Um, Love Fran Drescher. She is a Jewish girl who is not afraid to be forward. Okay. Arsenio was good because he showcased artists not on the late night shows. Yes. Lance Chafin writes, anyone recall real life, send me an angel. Hmm. I don't I don't recall that at all. Yes. Um Tracy, okay, all right, that's back and forth to her. I'll leave that one out. Um Tracy writes, are used to watch the nanny. Don't get me wrong, but she just was so loud and annoying, and that's the part I don't. That's me too. Me too. Exactly. Like it was just too much. Um, yeah. Not only was she loud, but her clothing was loud too. Mm, I remember the song. Send me an angel right now. Yeah. Sports movie was Pride of the Yankees. Oh, okay. All right. I don't really know sports movies that well, quite honestly. Sports movies just aren't, I'm not really a sports fan in the first place, so sports movies aren't my thing. Someone says, "Oh, Friday Night Lights" or something like that. I'm like, just don't get it. All right. Tracy. Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. Back and forth, back and forth here with some fellowship. Yeah, Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell were fire. We're hot. We're hot. I guess that's what you meant. We're Seinfeld, same thing every episode. All they do is whine and complain. Yeah, but I think any television show you can kind of boil it down to a couple elements, and um, you can say that about you know about kind of any show. You can kind of if you boil, I think you can boil almost any show down to a couple of elements. And you either like those elements or you don't. If you like that kind of a thing and you think it's funny, then you'll like it. All right. Oh, let's see. Friends. What is the show based in New York City where there are thousands of people of different ethnic backgrounds and wealth or non-wealth, all shapes and sizes? I just did not seem normal to me. Oh, okay. Well, I get that. I get that. As a matter of fact, there's a there's a pitch meeting. If you go to pitch meeting and look up Friends, there's a pitch meeting on Friends, and they bring that exact point up. They're like, "Oh, I guess it's going to be, um, it's going to be ethnically diverse," and they're like, "Nope, they're all going to be white." All right, let's see. Not to mention nailhead money. Not every friend of yours is going to have money, so I might struggle, and some may not. Yes, they actually had an episode about that. I liked it, but I liked Niles and Cece better. They should have had their own show. Um, maybe like a spinoff of a spinoff. Uh, Tracy, Janice on my yes. All right, not much. Let's see here. Well, we're getting to kind of the end of the show here. It's been an hour and a half, and that's about as long as I can sit on my keister. I'm going to read this one from Terrell. Which TV show premiered in 1998 do you really like better? Dawson's Creek? Nope. Uh, season X3, Sex and the City? Nope. Well, nope. King of Queens, That 70s Show, TRL, Becker, and Whose Line Is It Anyway? Well, for me, this would have to go with, well, I loved Whose Line Is It Anyway? That was funny. Becker, short-lived. TRL was cool, but I was kind of getting out of the MTV thing by that time. King of Queens was really funny. I really liked it a lot, but for me, it was That 70s Show. However, the new that 90s show, or is that what it is? It's horrible. I couldn't even watch a single episode of it, and I was all for it. And I'm glad the cast came back. That was kind of cool, but I don't give a rat's behind about those children. Like, with that 70s show, I really cared, and I wanted to like this one because I grew up in the 90s was a big part of my life. So I thought maybe they would nail it, but it really should just be called millennials or it's really almost like zennials. And it really doesn't even, in my opinion, that show does not depict me or my friends how we acted during the 90s. So didn't care for it at all. All right. Well, I'm going to skip past this. We're going down here. Let's see. Nice seeing you as well. I wore these glasses tonight. I hope you like them. Let's see. My grandkids call me the charmed ones call their grandmother Grams. Let's see. Best line in Frasier was Marsha Manson to Frasier's dad. I'll let you cop a feel if you let me feel a cop. Okay. Yikes. Yikesies, yikesies. Surprisingly good job tonight without T-Pawns. Thank you. Yeah, surprisingly. It's going to be nice to get him back and get this thing straightened out with all of this stuff straightened out with my music and with him being able to go through the comments because I like being able to just riff on things, have him read and then have him riff as well. But he's mostly there to do the reading. So, all right, I see people dropping off and everything. Thank you all so much. Just wanted to say I love this. I love you, and thank you so much for supporting the show. And I really hope that you will be here with me next week. I don't know what I'm going to be doing this week with the with the podcast. I'm just not sure. I'm going to try to get a hold of a few people to get them on the podcast. And I haven't done a short video for a long time. It's been a few months. So I want to get back to doing that. But I mean, right now, like it's not like before. So before, like I had I only worked 3 to 4 days a week, and so I had 3 to 4 days to kind of sit around and do stuff. But now I'm working basically like 9 to 5 every day, so it's a little bit um, it's a little bit tougher to get to those things. But we'll do it. We'll get it done, and eventually I'll get that loan and be able to do this all the first time. Oh no, Steve! Hey Steve! I'm sorry you got here just as it was getting over. All right, we will talk to you all later. Take care, everybody.